look at the camera.
Ordinary people have been hearing that instruction ever since filmmaking began. It's okay for royalty and politicians to look at the camera. Indeed, they are the principal subjects of early factual filmmakers.
Don't look at the camera.
But it's much more difficult to get close to the lives of ordinary working people. Part of the reason for this eloquent absence lies in cinema's origins. Cinema was a child of the rowdy vaudeville family. It lived in a world of celebrity, pageant, popular song, magical transformations. Early cinema reflects the working-class culture of Edwardian times, a culture that was concerned with entertainment, with pleasure, with an escape from the drudgery of work and humdrum reality. Documentary pioneer John Grierson commented,
Hardly were the workmen out of the factory and the apple digested than the scarlet women were in, and the high falsehood of trick work and artifice were in, and the first live careless raptures were out.
But back in the factory, the boss was in charge. And often it was the boss who was standing behind the camera.
Don't look at the camera!
In order to find ordinary workers on film, we have to look at the first corporates, or industrials, as they were then known. These publicized a product, in this case Peak Freen's biscuits, by explaining the production processes which lay behind the miracle of industrial capitalism. The factory owner or manager, who usually managed to get himself into shot somewhere, obviously wanted to present his product, his process and his workforce in the best possible light. After all, he was paying for the film.
Put the tray down in front of the camera. No bouncing at the camera! Right, everybody move on. I said everybody!
Industrials filled out the cinema program, but they were not popular with audiences, especially those with patronizing intertitles.
And what of the diligent employees from this hive of industry? Here we have some of them outside the gigantic works. And when the day's work is over, hey-ho for home, whether close at hand or via the busy station. A day's work well done under ideal conditions brings a contented mind and light heart to the happy worker.
A day in the life of a coal miner.
This one was sponsored by London and North Western Railways, so of course there had to be lots of shots of railways. But the camera operator would soon have discovered that filming underground was both difficult because of the bright light needed for early film, potentially very dangerous due to the risk of a gas explosion. So they didn't. Getting shots of women surface workers was not a problem. But the film of the miners underground appears to have been faked in an open gallery on the surface, so none of the miners have their lamps lit.
Don't look at the camera.
The film brings its little story to a cosy conclusion.
Light after darkness.
The miner's daughter welcomes him home.
A cosy fireside.
And an affluent family settles down by a fire of glowing coal. All far away from the harsh reality of 1910. In the year the film was made, 1,918 men were killed in pit accidents. By the time of the First World War, filmmakers had to take on board audience skepticism about so-called factual films.
The munitioners wear gloves and masks to protect them from the poisons and dangerous fumes of the explosive material.
A film made to recruit women for the notoriously dangerous work of munitions could hardly ignore the issue of health and safety.
Medical examination.
Though the workers' medical is hardly exhaustive.
Ready for the front, one of the many avenues of monster shells to be presented to the Huns.
Millions lost their lives in the First World War. To the alarm of many manufacturers, the war also led to the loss of much of their export trade. One of them, Barlow and Jones, decided to make a film to win back overseas customers. The way they saw their was rather different from the way it was seen by their workers.
Spinning and weaving of cotton goods.
It was hot, very hot, and a lot of dust. In the spinning shed, a lot of people got chest infections with dust and the like.
Cotton, taken off the carding engine as gossamer web and delivered.
Those were very dangerous machines. They were called carding machines, and they were huge. You had to mine 15 of them, and those were very dangerous.
Sheeting weaving.
On the noise, on the high accident rates, on the workers' vulnerability to cancer of the groin and to the lung disease byssinosis, Barlow and Jones's film is silent. Early cinema tells us little about the rise of the labour movement. There is film of the 1911 Cardiff dock strike.
Cardiff, the dock strike. London police arriving at 5 a.m.
But there was nothing on the cause of the strike, the refusal of local employers to recognise the union, or its bitterness. It took several hundred police and detachments of the army to restore order. By 1923, the newsreels were adding insult to injury. The dockers' strike of that year was treated as a joke.
On the beach at Dockville. As idle as a painted ship upon a painted ocean.
Even in the general strike of 1926, the tone remained facetious.
Hooray! Here's a tram!
A.J. Cook, the miners' leader, saw it in a different light.
We shall be faced with the greatest struggle we have ever known, and we are preparing for it.
Even so, nothing matters as long as we have Hobbs.
I don't care a hang for any government, or army, or navy. This is a war to the death. It is your death they're after.
Are we downhearted? No.
But there's not much doubt whose side the newsreel is on.
A state of emergency. Volunteers from National Service crowd Whitehall.
There is no doubt either about who the newsreels see as the hero of the hour.
Scenes in Downing Street. The Prime Minister's message. Steady.
Finding such limited material on a crucial moment in British history, it's hardly surprising that later programme makers added in shots from elsewhere. A shot of miners searching for coal on a tip became a favourite, used in a BBC retrospective on 1926, made in 1974, and in subsequent programmes. But it was shot in 1936, and Paul Rother, the man who shot it, noticed.
In years to come, when those of my generation have ourselves joined the vaults, fictitious archive scenes will by their very repetition become accepted as authentic. I think that TV's easy temptations ask for a slackening of conscience about historical fact on film. Is this not dangerous?
But what is historical fact on film? Anyone looking for an impression of working-class life would get a very somber picture from early factual film. It's rare indeed to see people relaxed and enjoying themselves. In this case, it's because the people at the May Fair in Rhyadr knew the cameraman as one of their own, Dixie Glasgow, who'd saved up to buy his own camera. When the cameraman is the cinema manager, filming people who will then come to watch themselves in his cinema, we start to see what those early audiences were like. They were overwhelmingly working class.
For us, the world suddenly expanded. Cinema, in the early years of the century, burst like a vision into the underman's existence, and, rapidly displacing both concert and theatre, became both his chief source of enjoyment and one of the greatest factors in his cultural development.
2 Franken tickets, please.
By 1911, 7 million tickets a week were sold. By 1916, it was 20 million, most of them women.
Many women who had lived in a kind of purdah since marriage, few respectable wives visited public houses, were to be sighted now, escorted by their husbands, en route for the pictures. A strange sight indeed.
I'm sorry, that was the last ticket to the cinema.
Would-be patrons of its twopenny seats literally fought each night for entrance, and tales of crushed ribs and at least 2 broken limbs shocked the neighbourhood.
Some, especially in the chapels, were shocked by everything the cinema represented. A Welsh poem proclaimed,
"Oh, stay away. Keep away from the cinema. Young lads, beware. Fall not as victims to the enemy's snare. This institute of evil at Mammon's command can destroy all the goodness which dwells in the land. Like Satan's old synagogue, the cinema once more is a monstrous creation which all should deplore. E'en the devil himself could never create a hell so complete, a Sodom so great."
In 1912, the film industry, fearing government censorship, set up its own British Board of Film Censors. By 1917, there were 4 grounds for censorship. They included
Drunken scenes carried to excess. Scenes suggestive of immorality. The effect of vitriol throwing. Vulgarity and impropriety in conduct and dress. References to controversial politics. Relations of capital and labor.
But though the labour movement was effectively squeezed off the screen, the suffragette movement was certainly not. Indeed, it was the first pressure group to realize the significance of film as political PR, and they did deals with camera operators eager for strong visuals.
With exclusive rights for kinematographing from the suffragettes' vehicle, Mr. W. Jeeps obtained some exceptionally interesting pictures. The sight of the surging mass of humanity following the Pantechnicon as it emerged from Hyde Park was something to arouse the envy of any kinematographer with an eye for picture effects.
This film was probably shot 5 years later than the report, but the suffragettes continued to supply good photo opportunities.
Trafalgar Square riot. Some ugly rushes were made to secure the rescue of Miss Sylvia Pankhurst.
The suffragettes became increasingly adept at setting up confrontations that they knew would make good film stories, and ensuring that the cameras were in the right place at the right time.
The Suffragette Derby of 1913.
Emily Davison planned her protest carefully. The cameras always covered this section of the course and would certainly keep filming until the King's horse had passed by. Whether or not she intended to die, she became the first news camera martyr. Even her funeral became a filmic event. By now, the newsreels were not just reflecting events, they were beginning to
April. King opens Wembley.
The founder of British documentary, John Grierson, was contemptuous of the newsreel.
It is difficult to think that any real picture of our troubled times has been recorded.
RAF pilot dives into sea for experiment.
The newsreel has gone dithering on,
June. Trooping the colour.
mistaking the phenomenon for the thing itself,
August. Cows Week.
and ignoring everything that gave it the trouble of conscience and penetration and thought.
December. Queen Alexandra's 80th birthday.
But the documentary, with its challenge to the newsreel's view of real truth, was built on unsure foundations. In 1920, Robert Flaherty began work on what many see as the first ever documentary, Nanook of the North. Shot with considerable difficulty in extreme cold, it was much admired by Grierson and early documentary filmmakers, and even allowed its central character to look at the camera.
His day's catch.
Ordinary people were of interest provided they lived in an extraordinary climate and were prepared to do very extraordinary things. For a start, they had to build a special igloo large enough for the camera. Then, when its interior proved too dark, cut away half the side. Nanook and his family pretended to go to sleep, said Flaherty.
With all the cold of out of doors pouring in.
When Flaherty was able to film a genuine Inuit hunt for walrus, he ignored pleas for help, kept his gun by his side, and just kept filming.
Nanook's harpoon landed, but the quarry succeeded in reaching the water. Then commenced a battle royal. Nanook and S straining for their lives on the harpoon line at water's edge. One great bull even came into quarry and blocked horns in an attempt to rescue. I filmed and filmed and filmed. The men calling me to end the struggle by rifle, so fearful being pulled into the sea.
Crucially, Flaherty then shaped his material into a story, the creative treatment of actuality, as Grierson was to call it. The storyline was somewhat improbable, a trip to celebrate the Arctic winter, though it never gets any darker. But the finished film fired Grierson into making his first film on which he was to build his reputation.
drifters.
Ignored for so long by British cinema, the working man at last took centre stage. Director and crew even went out to sea on the Maid of Thule from Stornoway to catch herring.
With the ship made fast to the end of the line, the nets go drifting through the darkness.
Unfortunately, those nets of the Maid of Thule contained no herring in the morning, and the cabin was too small to accommodate film and fishing crew. So Grierson built a cabin set, filmed some fish underwater in a laboratory, and arranged to go out fishing again, this time from Lowestoft. The underwater shots turned out to be roach, freshwater fish, but he did get his catch, and so his storyline. The successful storyline that his sponsors, the Empire Marketing Board, required. Grierson was able to put together his disparate material into a successful film. Successful enough to get a cinema release, and so to reach the working class audience that so rarely saw themselves on the screen. So who are we to point the finger? This program too has tried to tell a story like Grierson began with a provisional script, a plan of action. We too supplemented pictures with music and added sound effects also where we thought it would help. And we too have staged sequences, hired extras to play the members of the early audiences.
Told you so.
We too have shaped the disparate elements into, we hope, a coherent whole, and tried to reach as wide an audience as possible. Fakery and illusion are as much part of factual filmmaking as it is of fictional.
Okay, cut there. Thank you all for a good day's work. You can all make your way out and get changed. Okay? Thank you. That's all right. Down here, you know the film.
Good for me, good for sound.
What a dump. The Movie Show, next.
Hello, I'm Michael Eisner. You know, there's nothing I enjoy more than going through the enormous vaults of Malt Pisney's classic animated features. Tonight, we present one of my favorites. It's the story of a sex toy who did not know he was a sex toy. So sit back, eat some popcorn, and don't even think about taping this, because we will know, we will come, and we will hurt you. Enjoy.
Well, I hope she's not getting into vinyl.
And I'm still up.
Where am I gonna find another job? I'm not exactly a throw pillow.
Okay, I know everybody's upset. Dominique is getting a new sex toy.
Hey, Woody man, she's not gonna play with us no more.
Sacre bleu.
I don't want to go back to San Francisco.
San Francisco? We're gonna end up in a conjugal visit trailer in San Quentin.
San Quentin? Where? When?
Everyone calm down. There's nothing to worry about.
But check the bed, man.
Hi, I'm Buzz Light-Touch.
Who are you? I'm Woody, and you're in my spot. I'm Dominique's favorite sex toy.
Oh, really? Move over, buddy. You're about to be replaced by the real thing.
What?
Can't you see? I'm the real deal.